Okaywashing. How harm gets reframed as acceptable in family systems. Okaywashing is a useful informal term for a dynamic in which one partner systematically softens, masks, or re-legitimizes behavior that would otherwise be recognized as harmful, especially toward children, by pairing it with rewards, affection, or dependency. Over time, the harmed partner, and often the children, are nudged into a state where the unacceptable becomes okay, not because it truly is, but because resistance has been psychologically and materially eroded. At its core, okaywashing is not about a single act of persuasion. It is a conditioning process. It operates through chains. Harm leads to distress, which leads to soothing, and reward, which leads to normalization. The repetition of this chain trains the observer to associate the harm with reconciliation, pleasure, or stability, gradually dulling moral alarm. Two mirror cases. Consider two hypothetical families. Case 1. Affection-based okaywashing. A father holds a deeply held belief in nonviolence. He is disturbed when his wife uses threats, fear, and corporal punishment to control their children. Initially, he objects. Arguments follow. But after each incident, the wife becomes unusually affectionate, emotionally attentive, physically intimate, intensely loving. Over time, these moments of closeness begin to cluster specifically after episodes of discipline. The father's internal conflict does not disappear, it is managed. His distress becomes paired with reward. His resistance weakens not because he is convinced, but because his nervous system is being retrained. Eventually, he stops intervening. He may even begin to rationalize. "She's just strict," or "the kids need structure." What has happened is not agreement. It is conditioning. Case 2. Resource-based okaywashing. In a second family, the mother is distressed by her husband's use of intimidation and physical punishment. She objects, but he controls the family's finances. After incidents, he compensates with gifts, attention, or financial reassurances, taking her to a nice dinner date, buying something she wants, or otherwise temporarily easing financial pressure. Her resistance becomes entangled with security. Each time she pushes back, the implicit risk is instability. Each time she tolerates, the reward is relief. Over time, she begins to remain silent, not because she believes the behavior is acceptable, but because opposing it feels increasingly costly. Again, what emerges is not consent, but adaptive silence. Mechanisms behind okaywashing. Okaywashing draws on several well-understood psychological processes. Intermittent reinforcement. Rewards delivered unpredictably, especially after distress, are highly effective at shaping behavior. The brain becomes focused on the relief phase, which strengthens attachment to the cycle. Cognitive dissonance reduction. When someone witnesses harm but remains in the relationship, they experience dissonance. To resolve it, they may unconsciously downgrade the severity of the harm rather than confront the instability of opposing it. Trauma bonding. The alternation between harm and care can create strong emotional bonds. The relief phase feels more intense because it follows distress, deepening attachment rather than weakening it. Dependency leverage. Whether emotional, sexual, or financial, dependency creates asymmetry. The partner who controls the reward structure effectively shapes what becomes tolerable. Normalization drift. Repeated exposure without sustained interruption shifts baseline expectations. What once triggered alarm becomes routine. Effects on children. Children in these environments are not passive observers. They are participants in the emotional climate, and they internalize both the punishment and the surrounding normalization. 1. Confusion about safety and love. Children learn that harm can coexist with care. A parent who frightens or hurts them may later act loving or be defended by the other parent. This blurs boundaries. If they love me, why does this hurt? The result is a distorted model of relationships. 2. Impaired trust calibration. When one parent silently tolerates or indirectly validates harmful behavior, children lose a reliable reference point. They cannot easily identify who is safe or whether their own distress is justified. 3. Learned helplessness. If attempts to resist or appeal to the safer parent fail, children may stop trying. They learn that outcomes are not influenced by their actions, which can generalize into passivity in other areas of life. 4. Internalized justification of harm. Children may adopt the same narratives used by the okay-washed parent. This is normal. I deserved it. Or, this is what discipline looks like. These beliefs can persist into adulthood. 5. Emotional dysregulation. Cycles of fear followed by inconsistent soothing can dysregulate a child's stress response system. They may become hypervigilant, anxious, or prone to sudden emotional swings. Special risks for neurodivergent children. Neurodivergent children, such as those with autism, ADHD, sensory processing differences, or trauma sensitivity, are particularly vulnerable in okay-washed environments. 1. Heightened sensory and emotional impact. Many neurodivergent children experience emotional and physical stimuli more intensely. Punishment that might already be harmful becomes overwhelming, leading to shutdowns, meltdowns, or long-term stress imprinting. 2. Difficulty interpreting inconsistent signals. When harm is followed by affection or minimized by another parent, neurodivergent children may struggle to reconcile conflicting cues. This can increase anxiety and reduce their ability to form stable expectations about behavior and consequences. 3. Increased risk of self-blame. Children who already receive frequent correction for non-compliant or misunderstood behaviors may conclude that the punishment is entirely their fault, reinforcing shame-based identity formation. 4. Vulnerability to conditioning. Intermittent reinforcement can be especially potent for individuals with certain attentional or reward processing differences. The harm-reward cycle may become deeply ingrained. 5. Long-term social modeling effects. These children may carry forward the learned association between control, fear, and care into future relationships, increasing vulnerability to coercive or abusive dynamics. Why okay-washing is hard to detect. Unlike overt endorsement of harm, okay-washing often appears as reconciliation, affection, or generosity. Outsiders may see a loving couple or a disciplined household. Even the participating partner may not consciously recognize the pattern. They may simply feel that conflict resolves itself. The key marker is not whether affection or support exists, but when and how it appears. Specifically, whether it consistently follows or neutralizes harm without addressing it. Conclusion: okay-washing is a subtle but powerful mechanism by which harmful behavior becomes normalized within families. It does not require explicit agreement, only repeated pairing of distress with reward and the gradual erosion of resistance. For children, the cost is profound. Confusion about love and safety, impaired trust, and the internalization of harmful relational patterns. For neurodivergent children, these effects can be intensified, shaping development in ways that are difficult to unwind later. Recognizing okay-washing requires attention not just to what happens in a family, but to the emotional sequencing around it. Harm, followed by unexamined soothing, is not resolution, it is conditioning. And over time, this conditioning can make almost anything feel okay.